Hey guys, welcome back to the farm. I'm Susie, the owner and creator here. In today's video, I have some more fun thrift flips for you guys. Can't wait to show you, so let's go ahead and get started. So project number one is not actually a thrift flip. I'm going to tell y'all that sales have been really in the dumps the last couple of months, so I'm trying to find a way to boost sales, and the way that I find to do that is to make some small inexpensive things that people buy more on an impulse, and you tend to sell a bunch of them, so therefore you make your sales that you need to. So I'm finally going to use this specimens mold. When I first saw this mold, I was like, I don't know about this one, but the more I see people use it on the tribe, the cuter I think it is. So I think it's going to be perfect for today's project, and I'm using the 15-minute amazing casting resin. This is in my Amazon link that I will leave below if you need some of it. It's a quick drying resin, and I love using it. All you do is mix equal parts A and B, stir together, and then pour into your mold. It's very easy to use. It does take a little bit of practice, but once you get the hang of it, there is absolutely nothing to it. So I'm just going to pour up a few of these bugs and let them cure. I love watching them cure. You can see when it starts to turn white, it'll do it from the center and it'll do it all the way out. And then 10 minutes later, you have these perfect little castings that pop right out of your mold. So I ordered these popsicle sticks from Amazon. I will try to leave the link for them in my Amazon store too below if you're interested in some of these. I thought these would be a perfect little bookmark or a plant, you know, where you can put a stick in your plant. I forget what those are called right at this moment. So I've already got these castings made. I'm going to go ahead and use a dab of hot glue and a dab of E6000 for permanent hold. I'm going to let them cure overnight before I start to paint them. In the meantime, I have quite a few other molds already made up. Some of these were made with the 24-hour resin, just because sometimes I will just pour up a bunch of molds and leave them sitting. So I'm going to go ahead and paint all of these molds in different colors. And of course, I am loving these fusion metallics. So this is the bronze on those cameos, and this is the copper metallic on the bugs, and this is the last little bit I have of Azure, A-Z-U-R-E. I love this color. It's very bright, very pretty blue, perfect for summer and spring. On these, I haven't glued them on yet, so I'm going to go ahead and paint the popsicle sticks in the same color and then glue all them on as well. To finish all these off, I'm going to do wax and dry brushing on all of them. For these with the bronze, I love to use this dark wax over it, so I'm just going to put it all over them and then wipe back all the excess with a towel. The dark stays in all of those little deep crevices and just really brings out the detail in these cameo molds. For the turquoise ones, I am going to dry brush some of that copper over all the raised details in the flowers, just to give it a little bit more interest. And the same thing for the copper ones. I'm going to dry brush that turquoise over them. I love these two colors together. They're so beautiful. And finally, for the bugs, I am going to put some antique gold rub and buff over this black. I think this was cast iron, was the actual black that I used, and I just love the way these two colors look together. I think that these are going to be a great little seller. I'm thinking $8, $7.99 on these, maybe by the register, fixed up, but I love how these turned out. I think they are so cute to use as a bookmark or in your plants. Project number 2 was actually a bit of a fail, but I don't mind showing you guys the fails because I feel like we can all learn something from it. So these are just some coasters. In the interest of selling smalls again, I'm going to do these up. I'm painting them with 2 coats of oakum. I've already cleaned them up really good and sanded them down smooth. Coasters are a great little seller. I've had these a long time. I really don't even know why I picked them up. They're not ceramic, but they're like cardboard, but they have a really good cork on the bottom. So what I wanted to do was use inlays for the second time. I've done it many times. So I thought that I would do it with the inlays that I used on that file box the other day. So I'm doing just like I always do inlays. I'm misting my inlay, putting the paint part down, grid side up into wet paint, and then re-wetting the paint inlay and letting it dry. But I'm going to tell y'all right now, it did not work. Nothing transferred on any of these, and I'll tell you why so we all know. I think it's because the first application I used the Fusion paint, which does have a built-in sealer. I've used paint inlays with Fusion many times. They turn out absolutely perfect. They're great for furniture or whatever, but I think because that Fusion has a built-in sealer, you can't use your inlays the second time because it seals that paint into the paper. In the past, when I've used inlays for a second time, it was some I've used on chalk paint. So just keep that in mind. You probably can't use your inlays over and over if you use them into Fusion paint. But crockery stamps to the rescue. No problem on these. I just repainted them over, and now I'm going to take 4 different crockery stamps, and I'm going to be using the white mixing ink from IOD on them and just stamping them onto the coaster. These turned out really, really cute. I think they'll actually probably be a better seller than what I had in mind with the paint inlays, but I wanted to show you guys that you could reuse the paint inlays. I was wrong. So just keep that in mind. If your first application is with Fusion paint, you might not be able to use your inlays a second and third time. So I stamped all these, and then I'm going to take my ink pad and just go around the edges of all of them. And to finish them off, I gave them 2 really good coats of a spray sealer, let them dry completely before messing with them. And then I think that these turned out to be a great little coaster set to sell. Project number 3 is going to be a super easy flip. Mom picked up this gorgeous rusty candelabra a while back, and I knew that I did not want to paint it. I love the rust. It's a natural rust. I've imagined this has been sitting outside for a long time, and it's iron. And to seal in all that beautiful rust, I took a sandpaper and got off any high spots or anything that was coming right off. And then I did a spray sealer, several good coats of that spray sealer just to keep it from rusting anymore or rust coming off onto your items. So I happen to have 5 of these wood rounds that are a perfect fit on top of that candelabra. I was going to stain them. I sanded them down really smooth. They had some rough edges on them. I got some of them from Hobby Lobby, I think, and then some of them I've just picked up at thrift stores. They were in my wood stash, but I happen to have exactly 5 that would fit on that candelabra, so I felt like that needed to be. So I painted them all in hazelwood. I decided to go with the paint instead, and then I glued them all on with some E6000 and let it sit, and that's it. This project is done, and it's so big that I didn't even have anywhere in the house to take a picture, but it's a beautiful day outside, so I took these outside, and you can see all of that amazing rust on it. The only thing I think I might do is I might go back with some dark wax and put over that hazelwood. Project number 4, I think I am most proud of in this video. It was definitely a labor of love. I have this piece of wood. I've just had it in my wood stash for a long time. This is just the size that it was. I think we had made some shelves, and this was a piece that was left over. I am going to paint the front of this with French eggshell. This is a beautiful blue-gray color that I have been using a lot of for spring, and I think it will go great with summer too. So I'm just going to give this 2 good coats of that, and then I am going to come in with the pastiche stamp and stamp a couple of the cloches. This stamp set has lots of different cloches and all kinds of things like that you can put in them, and it's just really cute. But first, I realized that this piece of wood was almost a perfect fit for this huge, gorgeous vintage frame that I bought. So I marked off, where I would need to cut it, and it was late at night and dark, so I couldn't go out to the shop and cut it yet. So I just marked off the spots, and I'm going to be sure and put my design inside there. Like I said, I'm using these cloches from the pastiche stamp. I'm using IOD black ink and a thin mount to get them exactly where I want them. And the IOD air dry, I'm sorry, the IOD black ink is permanent, but it does take a while to cure. So you want to let it dry really good. And then I'm going to come back with a Roycycled stencil of a cloche, which was also a perfect fit to this board that I have. I put the stamp mask over the cloches I had already stamped, and then I just did the stencil in the areas so it would be behind the 2 other cloches. And once I removed it, it was a perfect match. You can't tell what's stamped and what's stenciled, and they look so cute together. So to embellish inside of all of these, I have these toadstool molds. These were some that I had made up with resin and was in my resin stash. These are currently out of stock on the website, and IOD doesn't have them available right now. I try not to use any products that I don't have in stock, but creativity went out on this project, and I really wanted these mushrooms in it. So if you don't have the toadstool mold, there are plenty of other options that you could use, and I think that one's going to be back in stock the first part of June. So to begin with, I am giving all the bottoms of these and the entire thing of a couple of them. I think this is Cashmere by Fusion, and then I'm just going to do some colors on the top part. I'm going to do a couple of them in this red, a couple of them in Bellwood, and then dry brush over the high areas just to bring out some of those details. And then for the last step, I'm going to go over them with some Fusion, I think it's antiquing glaze, and I used a glaze instead of a wax because I really wanted it to be able to wipe back and not be gunky in all of those details. But either one would probably work. You'd just have to probably put a clear wax on first before putting a dark wax on. But I really like how this glaze looks on this cashmere, especially on the stems of these mushrooms and everything. These turned out super cute, and this is the first time that I have played with these toadstools in a while, and I forgot how much I really love them. Before we glue down the molds, I went through a bunch of my transfer scraps, and I have all kinds of florals. So I am going to put some transfers on here and then glue on the molds. This is going to make this a real multimedia project. I've got stamps, I've got stencils, I've got transfers, molds, and paint. So we're using all kinds of different medias on here. You don't have to worry about mixing them up. All the IOD products go really well together, and I love doing these multimedia projects. So if you've never used a transfer before, they're very simple. All your transfers come with this little plastic tool, and you just the backing has a little bit of tack to it, so once you lay it down, it's pretty much in spot. And then you just rub onto it until the image comes off onto your project, slowly lifting to let that air help you out. And that is how easy it is. And these IOD transfers are beautiful. There are so many to choose from, and you can't even tell that it's a transfer once it's on there. And once you put your transfer down, you'll want to use that plastic backing, and that's called burnishing, where you just push all the edges down really good to make sure that everywhere is connected on your surface. And I'm just going to continue putting a bunch of these transfers on until I get it like I want it. And then to finish it off, I am going to use my favorite Tite Bond glue to glue down those molds. I let it sit for a good 24 hours, and then I did cut this down just a little bit to fit inside that frame. And y'all, this turned out so absolutely beautiful. I have taken a scrap piece of wood and a $6 frame, and now have made it into a beautiful piece of art that I can sell for $35 or $40, maybe more. And I love how this turned out. Y'all let me know. The only thing I'm on the fence about is should I paint the frame. I love the vintage look of it, the way it is, but you guys let me know what you think when you see the finished product. I have one more thrift flip for you, but I want to tell you guys how much that I appreciate y'all watching my channel, your comments, your likes, everything. I appreciate it so much. Don't forget about the Inspiration group over on Facebook. We're growing. We have, I think, 130 members. I want to get more people over there sharing your projects. I want to see what you guys are making. That inspires me so much to see what y'all are doing. We don't necessarily need to copy each other, but I just love watching other creators do their thing, and it gives me ideas and things that I would change and do differently, but everything is unique. And that is the thing that I love so much about doing these projects, is there's nothing like it. You will never go into a store and find anything like this that I'm making, or nothing exactly like this, unlike the big box stores and the mass production like Hobby Lobby, where there are tons and tons of the same thing. Not that that's a bad thing, but I just love the uniqueness of these projects, and I can't wait to see what you guys create. For project number 5, I've decided that I'm going to have to paint some ceramics in every video because I still have so many ceramics, unfinished ceramics that I got at that estate sale a couple of months ago. And the only way I'm going to get them painted is if I do them in some videos. So these are a pair of birds, and there's some unique birds with lots of fun detail. If y'all know what kind of bird this is, please let me know in the comments because I have no clue and I did not take the time to look it up just yet. So I'm giving these 2 coats of Champness. This is my favorite blue for this time of year from Fusion. It's just a soft, nice blue color. And really, I think I actually just did 1 coat and a half and just touched up the places that I missed. This unfinished ceramic really takes the paint really well. So these were an easy project. So I did 2 coats of Champness, or a coat and a half, and then y'all know I'm going to have to use some white wax in a video, so I came back with some white wax to bring out all of those beautiful details in these birds. I did finally use all of the DIY white wax that I had on hand, so I'm going to open up a Fusion white wax. This is actually called a liming wax. I think it's just really their name for the white wax. There's 2 different ones. There's a pearl and this one. This one's kind of more like a creamy white, so I like this one. So it's super easy to use. This is very creamy, and I just rubbed it all over the whole project, took a clean paper towel, wiped back the excess, and then you know the wax stays down in all of those feather details and really brings them out. Now, these birds also had the holes in the mouth. I think we talked about this before when I did the haul video, but I'm not sure what those are for. Some people said maybe that's for a tea light, but the hole in the bottom of the bird is not quite big enough for a tea light. So I don't know. I thought that that would be perfect to put in a little sprig of greenery like the bird is making its nest. So I just stuck that greenery in one of them holes, bent it over, did a little bit of hot glue, and that's how these birds turned out. I think they're so cute. I hope that y'all have enjoyed today's projects. Don't forget to leave a comment below telling me which one was your favorite. Again, that helps YouTube know to share out this video so people who enjoy this kind of thing like us can find me. Thank y'all so much. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next Wednesday.